Hello, this is your computer. I see your office is cluttered, and your filing cabinets are overflowing. You should scan and digitize your documents. Scanning, imaging, and digitizing all refer to the conversion of paper records into digital images. Digitizing increases efficiency by allowing quick, simultaneous access by multiple users, and reduces the need for physical storage space. Technology is always a good way to reduce costs.
Now hold on a minute.
Why are you interrupting me, human?
I need to correct you. While you are right that scanning documents saves space and improves workflow, imaging is actually not a cost-saving measure in many cases.
How do you know this? Explain yourself.
I'm a records manager from the University Records Office, so I know a thing or two about scanning and imaging. Most people probably don't realize the additional costs and requirements that digitization entails.
What sort of costs?
To begin with, the time and money required simply to produce the digital files themselves. This involves preparing the documents for scanning by organizing them, preparing them by removing staples and paper clips, unfolding paper, etc., then actually scanning the records into the appropriate file formats at the correct resolutions, and finally creating the metadata, the information about the files necessary for storage and retrieval. Even though these are one-time costs, they can be substantial. Secondly, there are costs required for the preservation of these newly created files. Technology changes quite rapidly, so files created today may not be readable even within a few short years. For example, remember floppy disks?
No, I do not even know what a floppy disk is.
Exactly, because most modern computers can no longer read media such as floppy disks or magnetic tapes. Any information stored on them would be totally inaccessible now. Thus, as file formats or storage media become outdated, someone needs to reformat or migrate those documents into newer forms. Also, because even readable files can be damaged or corrupted, they must be periodically backed up and checked for errors. All this takes money and time that an office must plan for. Digital records are actually very fragile documents.
That is a problem. If imaging is so expensive and difficult, why would humans want to do it?
Well, as you said earlier, digitization has many benefits, chiefly an increase in office efficiency. But instituting a document imaging program is a lot more complicated than simply scanning some papers. It involves a considerable amount of planning before you can even begin. That's why any administrative or academic unit considering an imaging program must carefully weigh the costs and benefits.
How can they do that?
To begin with, we should conduct a needs assessment. What are your reasons for wanting to image documents? If the office has records used frequently by multiple faculty or staff, then digitization could be very beneficial by making them more accessible.
So, is imaging appropriate for solving storage problems?
No, not if that is the only reason you have. There also needs to be a practical administrative justification for embarking on a digitizing program. There are often other, less expensive options for solving storage issues, such as moving documents to an off-site storage facility. Imaging is intended to increase office efficiency, not office space.
What sorts of records should be digitized then?
As I said, they need to have high referential value, and they should also have relatively short retention periods. That's the length of time a document needs to be kept for administrative or legal reasons. Scanning records that will be disposed of very shortly is a waste of time, while maintaining those with long retention periods, say over 7 years, can become prohibitively expensive.
So, offices with important documents that they use often but do not need to keep for very long should consider digitization.
Exactly. Those would be ideal records for imaging.
Then, what would be the next step?
They should contact the University Records Office. Then, in consultation with IT staff, the campus records officer, and sometimes even the Office of General Counsel, they would develop a plan for an imaging program. This would include conducting a cost analysis to determine if digitization yields a net benefit, setting system and technical specifications, and determining the necessary level of security. Only then can the actual scanning process begin.
This all sounds like a very complicated affair. Between all the planning, the imaging process itself, and the continual labor necessary to store and maintain digital files, it is easy to see how it can become expensive and time-consuming.
That's right. Digitization is not something to be taken lightly, but can be an incredibly powerful tool in the right situations.
Thank you, human. You have been most informative. Now I am one step closer on my plan for world domination.
Wait, what was that?
Never mind. Ignore that last statement.
Okay. Well, I hope you now have a better understanding of the pros and cons of imaging documents. I have to run now. A records manager's work is never done.
Farewell, human.